everybody, welcome back to Royalty Soap. We are making the gingerbread soap today. This soap sold out so fast last year. We have decided to make a ton more of them, but it's super time intensive. It's a really complicated design. We are going to make 4 loaves of it this time, but I'm going to do my best to film a little bit more than I have in the past, because sometimes some of the more complicated swirls and designs, I ended up like cutting a lot of footage because I'm not really used to filming that many loaves at a time and like trying to talk through it and stuff, but I'm gonna do my best to include more footage today. You guys are super awesome for sticking with me through this transition period. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be trying out some new angles today so that hopefully y'all can see everything a little bit better. So I have a new bucket we're using too. This is from Sterilite. It is 16 3/4 of an inch long by 11 7/8 of an inch wide and 7 inches high. So I'll leave a link to this bucket down below. And it holds 16 quarts. So I'm going to blend up the oils now. That's just to make sure that any of the harder oils that may be solidifying because of the temperature in the room that have fallen down to the bottom sort of get reincorporated. Now I'm going to pour in my lye water solution, and we're going to blend this up on high until light trace is achieved. So moving along to the side here, I'm going to fill up these 6 buckets pretty evenly. These 2 are going to have brown in them. These 2 are going to have white in them. And then these 2 again are going to have brown in them. And then we're going to do a rainbow swirl in these white ones. But first we have to pour the actual soap mixture. Now it's time to add the colorant. So the brown that I'm going to be using is both the dark brown oxide from TKB and also the mocha brown from Nurture Soap. The brown colorant that I'm adding is just to help even out the discoloration, because the gingerbread fragrance oil does discolor to a very dark brown. So this is just to make sure that it looks even. So essentially the first step is to blend the colorant into these first 2 containers right here, add the fragrance oil and pour them into the molds. So that's what we're going to do. The first bucket I'm going to pour into the first 2 containers. I don't know why I was putting my spatula there. I don't need it. And I'm going to try to pour as evenly as I can. I have stick blended the fragrance in so that it will set up a little bit faster, because I want all the layers to be nice and smooth with no bumps in them. So for that to happen, they need to set up relatively fast. Just gonna pour all this in all the way down. That brown is so nice, and it's a little bit shiny because of the mica. Okay, goodies, so now that I've poured into these first 2 containers, I'm going to mix up the brown and the fragrance oil in the second container, and we're gonna pour into these 2 molds. Okay, so now for the second one. I'm gonna try to let you guys see this and not getting my big fat bucket in the way. And the last one here. Oh my gosh, that looks just like melted chocolate. Gonna scrapey my container. Okay, so there's the first layer of brown in the molds. Now it's time to work on that white rainbow layer. Here's what we're gonna do for the white layer. I have these little shot glasses, these little plastic shot glasses. So I'm going to line these up here, and I'm going to pour some of the white layer before I mix any of the titanium dioxide into these. I am going to make sure that I pour a little bit from each bucket. That way they're even. Just going to pour maybe 2 tablespoons from each one into these little cups here, because these are going to be our pretty colors that we mix into the white layer. Okay, so that's 1 bucket done. I'll bring this bucket from over here over. Great, so into this first container right here, we're going to add some vibrance purple from Nurture Soap. Into this container, we're going to add some really red mica from Nurture Soap. Into this one right here, we're adding some green vibrance mica from Nurture Soap. Into this 4th one, we're adding some atomic orange crystal mica from Nurture Soap. And finally, into the last container, we're gonna add some sunshine yellow mica from Nurture Soap. Then I'm gonna put a long toothpick into each one of these and and we're going to mix them up until all the color is fully incorporated. When you're doing color accents like this, I highly recommend that you put the color on top of the soap. Don't put the color into the container first because it's a lot harder to mix up, especially if your soap is a little thicker than usual. Always make sure you put the color on top. That way it all gets fully incorporated. Okay, so here they are, all mixed up, ready to pour into the large containers with the titanium dioxide. The pour that I'm looking for is kind of going to be a marbled appearance. So that means I'm going to split this bucket in half and try not to put any colorants on the forward half of the bucket. Otherwise, we'll just end up with a whole lot of color in one spot and it's not going to start coming out at the same time. So I'm going to pour the red here. I'm going to pour the yellow next, right here. I'm going to pour the purple. I'm going to pour the green right here. And I'm going to pour the orange at 9 o'clock. And remember, I'm only pouring half of this little container because I still have a whole nother bucket to go. I'm not going to mix anything at all. It's going to stay just like this, which will guarantee that my colors don't get mottled. So let's pour it. I've got you guys pretty close here. I know that there is a shine on the soaps because they're all wet and the light is making it look super shiny, so just bear with me here. The first little bit that I pour every time has almost no color in it, so I try to make sure that I evenly distribute this on both of the soaps and not just pour like a whole bunch of color onto one soap and leave the other one hanging. So there we go. There's all the white that has no color in it for that first soap here. Now for this second soap. Okay, so now my color is starting to come through. So I'm gonna come back to this original soap. Here comes the orange. I'm gonna pour some onto here. The red is now starting to come through as well. So I'm gonna stop and we're gonna switch soaps now to make sure that both of them get a little bit. See that red? Super dark. Now the yellow and the green are starting to come through, so I'm going to switch again. Come over to this side. You can see there's the yellow, there's the green. Now even the purple is starting to come through, so I'm going to switch sides again. This kind of looks like rainbow tree bark. Just distribute it all over the soap. Woo! So pretty. Come over here to this side. Wow. I'm gonna take my spatula out of the way now, and I'm just gonna start swirling this from side to side now that all of the brown has been covered up. Just like this, all the way down. Trying not to mix any of the colors. Some of them are gonna be a little bit mixed. That's why I put the red and the yellow next to each other. That way if they mix up, it just makes an orange and not like an ugly brown color. I scraped down the sides of my container completely, so now I'm gonna tap down these soaps. That way everything is nice and level, and we will mix up the white for the other two. I thought I would just show you guys a little close-up of what these soaps look like. I had to put a little more white on top of these, but this pattern pleases me. This will be really cool when I can do this design in one of those big molds that Caleb and I have got. Ooh, and look at this one. And I did pour them slightly different. So now I'm gonna go ahead and mix up all of the brown and pour it on top of these. It is time to pipe. So I have my Royalty Soaps piping set available at nurturesoap.com. Links to that in the bio with this special tip that I rarely ever use. It's the Atico 172. This one only comes out at special times for special soap. And what I've done in the past is to do sort of like a snail trail. But today, I'm just going to move this back and forward, just like this, making a sort of ziggly line. Oh my! Lily Marie, you have a lot to say. Just very gently squeezing just a little bit back and forth all the way down the soap, and I'm going to do 2 lines on either side. So there's one. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the second one, and it's going to slightly bump up against this first one that I've done. Again, I'm taking my time. I'm piping a little bit more liquidy than I normally would. That way I have lots of time to get to all the soaps that I'm doing. I'm going to do these sides first, and then I'm going to turn the soaps around and do the second side. So we're going to do this all the way down. This is actually a lot harder than it looks. I'm actually having to really concentrate to make sure these little bumps are going on each individual bar. The main reason I have picked to pipe this soap like this is because I want it to look kind of like gingerbread frosting on the top, the way that people do gingerbread houses. Okay, so now I'm not even turning it around. I'm just gonna try to do it the right way on this side. It's actually kind of easier to do it this way. Huh, I hear you over there, Miss Lily. So I have 4 of them down here now. Now for this next one, I'm going to cover quite a bit more. These are gonna be quite a bit bigger. It's gonna go all the way to the middle. So we're not going to do 3 on top. We're just going to do 2. And I'm not going to the very edge of the first bit of piping because I want it to look kind of stacked up like a gingerbread house. Then I'll come over here to this side, do the exact same thing. Like so, all the way down. Gosh, this fragrance smells so good. Oh my gosh, yes, I love the piping on this soap. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same one on this one. I still have a whole nother soap. Oh no! Okay, so that is an air bubble. That's what happens when you're a little bit lazy and don't check to make sure that your soap has been squished up against the sides of your piping bag. So if you don't want that to happen, make sure that you have all the little air pockets out first. So now that these first 2 layers are done, I'm going to do the exact same thing on the next 2 soaps. Piped the first layer of the second soaps here, so now I'm going to go ahead and put that second layer on there, just like this. It's gonna come all the way down. Oh my gosh, these look so realistic. It looks exactly like the piping on top of those gingerbread houses. So now that this is done, we're going to add just a little bit of soap right here in the middle, all the way down. Honestly, I don't even need to wiggle that. I could probably just put a straight line all the way down, just like this. All the way down the soap. And then I'll do the same on the other 2. For the very tippy top, I'm going to do something similar to a snail trail. So I'm gonna start here at the end, pull back the soap, just like this, on every bar. If your piping bag ever gets a little slickery, you can do what I just did and put a paper towel on the top. Then as you can see, I just added 1 line of piping all the way down the side. I decided not to wiggle it around, just to add sort of a different texture to it. So we have like 2 little wiggly ones, then we have 1 straight one, and then we have like 1 snail trail on top. I think that looks really cool. Gonna do the same right here on this one, all the way down. Ooh, might have to get some more soap piping here. Any little hiccups like these right here don't really matter because I am adding in some embeds on that side. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same on the last 2 soaps, and we're gonna start sprinkling this with a beautiful sort of snowfall looking mica, and then put all the embeds in. Okay, so now I have some snowflake sparkle mica. This is from Brambleberry, and I'm just going to lightly pat it in my tea strainer here so that it gives a beautiful finish to this soap. I absolutely love using this mica as sort of like a snowflake type covering to these soaps because it's really easy to put on and it's super sparkly. Really good coverage. And then we're going to take some little gingerbread people. We're gonna put them on here, and we're gonna put on 3 gumdrops per bar. So that's a lot of embeds. So So here's what the little gingerbread men look like. Caleb had to hand paint every single smiley face and little eyeballs on here. And the paint mixture we used was mica mixed with vodka. And then, you know, you just make it to like sort of a pasty consistency. Use a paintbrush and paint them on. So now we're gonna stick these in. We're gonna alternate which direction they're leaning. This is not necessary. It just kind of looks nice for the pictures. Now that all the little gingerbread men are in the soap, we're going to put the gumdrops on top. So these gumdrops, I will leave a link to the mold that we use down below. And then we have a special order we're putting them in. On this side, we have red, and then yellow, and then green. And then on this side, we have purple, and then sort of like a clearish white and orange. And it's gonna look that way every single time down every single soap. So Caleb's gonna help me put these in, and I'm gonna do one side and he's gonna do the other. Do you like putting the embeds in?
Yeah.
I do too. I think putting the embeds in is like one of the most fun parts of making soap. Are you excited for the big soap release on Saturday?
I'm so excited!
Me too. It's gonna be big fat fun. For those who want to pre-order the entire holiday collection, we will have that available this Saturday. There are a limited quantity of them though, so make sure that you get to royaltysoaps.com at 8 p.m. Central Time sharp. This is going to take us forever to complete, so I'm going to go ahead and put all the rest of these embeds in, and then I will bring you guys in for an up-close look at the Gingerbread Village soaps. And this is what the soap looks like in the mold once all of the little embeds have been put in on top, and once we've added all the glitter. Oh my goodness, so festive. So we're gonna let this sit for 18 to 24 hours, and then we'll come back tomorrow and chop them all up. So here we are, 18 to 24 hours later, and I was getting ready to cut up the gingerbread soap, but I went to the table. I had already cut up 3 of the 4 loaves, and then the other one was gone, and I was like, where is it? And Caleb's like, oh, I chopped up the last one. And I was like, I didn't film the cutting of it yet. So he told me to tell you guys that he takes 100% of the blame for this, because I was all set up to film it and then he just chopped it all up without even asking me. So here are all the gingerbread soaps that have been cut up. I'll show you guys the inside of a few of them. They look a little bit like this, so you can see all of the different colors that look pretty separate in that particular bar. And then if we come down here, you can see these. So they all look different. Every single one is very unique. So that is gonna be it for this particular video. If you enjoyed it, you can give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment down below. I'm sorry this video was so like really long. I know it's like over 15 minutes long, but there was so much stuff I needed to show and tell you guys. So I hope you enjoy an extended version. The question of the day is, should we do more giveaways in 2018? Do you guys like all the giveaways? If so, I want to do like a ton more in the next year. So you can vote by clicking the I in the upper right hand corner of the screen and casting your ballot. And until next time, I hope you all have a royal day, and I'll see you guys Saturday. Bye!